Hello viewers, welcome to another edition of Behind the News coming from the stables of the Nation Online TV. I am Ayooluwa Ayobami and I would be your host. Today is the 30th day in the month of July and it's actually been a good ride since January 1 up until this moment. Quickly we are going to go to the issues that we have for the day. However, I won't be doing this alone, as I have with me my delectable, amazing, fantastic, well-detailed analyst, Mr. Olakunle Abimbola. Mr. Abimbola, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, can I get you?
It's congratulations seeing the 30th of the month of July. It's safe to say happy new month in advance. Let's quickly go through the stories that we have in the studios for today. This is Behind the News, where we analyze and dissect few of the stories in the national dailies that we have in the studios. Today we have the Nation newspaper, we have New Telegraph, and we also have the Punch newspaper with us in the studio this morning. And before we go into analysis, let me run through the headlines in these few national dailies. And I'm going to start with our very own, talking about the widest circulating newspaper, the Nation newspaper. And on the window page, we have it as First Lady's RHI lifts Benue attack victims with 1 billion naira. Transcorp Group raked in 379.7 billion naira in H1. FIRS holds tax exemption to firms, NGOs in FTZs. Patients discharged as nurses join doctors' strike in Lagos. Ladoja, I will prioritize filling vacant positions in Olubadan Chieftaincy line. And the feature story has it as Yilwakda Akume Yahaya Sunny rally north for Tinubu. Tinubu carrying people along in governance, says Shetima. Aso Villa not vacant till 2031. President fulfilling promise to region. Response to AG's queries on 210 trillion naira cash, Senate tells NNPCL. PDP, ADC lock horns in supremacy battle. Federal government gives automatic employment to 200 outstanding youth corps members. And over to New Telegraph. Federal government reforms optimistic as IMF raises Nigeria's 2025 growth forecast to 3.4%. Transcorp declares 4.064 billion naira interim dividend as H125 PBT hits 85.7 billion naira. Automatic employment 250k naira. Scholarships for 200 NYC honorees, Tinubu. Benue killings. First Lady donates 1 billion naira to displaced families. North not eligible for presidency in 2027, says Akume. Appeal Court rules FRSC lacks power to seize driver's license and vehicles. Quality of elections still challenging at local government level, INEC. CAC to delist 100,000 dormant firms, issues 90-day ultimatum. Justice Ishak Bello chairs Hospitality, Travel and Tourism Practitioners Disciplinary Tribunal, NIHO tour. We were offered ministerial positions, money to kill coalition, Onwosu. Man in Lagos prison coordinates arms purchase in Ondo for bandits in Zamfara. Deep sea sugar destroys cancer cell study. And over to the Punch newspaper. North splits over Tinubu marginalization claim. 210 trillion naira audit. Senate demands NNPC response in 3 weeks. Nurses shun federal government talks, begin warning strike today. States accuse federal government of sabotaging power sector decentralization. And the lead story, they have it as power rotation debate heats up as North reviews Tinubu's scorecard. Tinubu must complete 8 years, says Afenifere Middle Belt Forum. NIHOTUR sets up panel to sanction tourism offenders. Olakunle for burial August 8th. And these are the headlines in the national dailies that we have in the studios this morning. And quickly we are going to go into analyzing few of this story. And we are going to, I'll start with the headline from the Nation newspaper that reads, PDP ADC lock horns in supremacy battle. Let me read through the lead of this story. Opposition parties, the People Democratic Party and African Democratic Congress ADC, are locked in supremacy battle following a dig at the PDP by the ADC. The former ruling party yesterday fired back at the ADC, now taken over by coalition politicians led by Atiku Abubakar. The PDP accused some ADC members of being known agents of the All Progressive Congress, whose goal was to dislodge the ruling party from power in 2027. It specifically referred to ADC spokesman Bolaji Abdullahi, whom it described as an APC indoctrinated individual, as being pivotal to the ADC attack. This is coming from the PDP. Abdullahi himself had earlier referred to PDP rather, as a party that was not built for opposition. According to Abdullahi, he said the PDP as a party was built and wired to be in governance. So finding themselves in the opposition, since 2015 is it looked strange or felt strange to them. Hence the reason for their back and forth. Mr. Abimbola, what's your own, from your own standpoint, do you think there is any party that is not built to be an opposition?
Well, basically, I don't think so. But that statement by Abimbola is a fair call. It's a fair call because indeed and in truth, since PDP led power, they've been behaving like a bunch of a confused bunch of urchins who are out of their breath. I mean, they don't even know how to frame their opposition stuff. So, in a way, that statement will appear to be right, specifically on PDP. But then, again, you ask yourself, Abdullah himself, how did he know? He was a member of PDP. Remember, he was a Saraki boy, you know. And even when they gravitated to APC in 2015, he was being pushed as the national publicity secretary of the party. But somewhere along the line, people found out that he was a Mo of Saraki who wanted to go back to PDP. They wanted to leave a Mo, were allegedly from what they are saying in the party. And because of that, eventually, I think they succeeded initially. But somehow the Kwara people, the Kwara APC orchestration is split in the party. So they had the faction. Because of the faction, it wasn't very effective until Saraki moved back to PDP. So the guy should know what he's talking about as to PDP, where to be a party in government. There is a lot of truth in that. I mean, what was PDP, for instance? PDP was like somebody called it, was an army arrangement for people who are picked from all over the country to protect the interests of the military who are playing from government anyway. And to that extent, it was sort of an amalgam that was set up to succeed the military without asking questions about what the military did or did not do in the past. There was a streak of panic in it, if you are able to really analyze Nigeria history very well. But well, unfortunately, the PDP, they mismanaged their chances. They were there for 60 years, and I think from the beginning they set up with a raw set of leadership. I mean, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, with all due respect to him, wasn't really giving that sort of leadership that would make a party to grow and integrate itself for a long time. And after his 8 years, PDP became progressively weaker until it collapsed under Yar'Adua, who was really a fall guy. But away from all that, you have a question again. What is ADC? what is PDP? You could say ADC is a revamped version of PDP. So you have two factions of basically the same party, confronting themselves. It's what Yoruba would call the AD. That's magical. How do I put it? It's a magical confusion that turned former friends against one another, and they try to finish. That's what they are doing now. But that should be a lesson to the ruling APC. Because the strand of APC too is with the ADC. Many of them were originally 95% were originally PDP in ADC. Maybe 5%, 5-7%. I mean the Ayobami faction of so even Ayooluwa was facing PDP for going to CDC, CPC, for going to even his membership now is questioned because he claims to be in SDP. SDP are exploring for 30 years. They allegedly tried to rig his membership and all that, making himself in his way as if there was nobody there before. So right now, technically, the guy is angry because you can't be in two parties at the same time. If a party has said you are not there and you are claiming to be in another party, how can that be? So you see, the other way, the confusion that ADC is confusing, is how do I put it now? Is accusing the confusion the ADC is accusing PDP of is already in ADC too with the Ayooluwa example. So but the message to the ruling APC is that the only permanent thing about life is change. The only permanent thing about life is change. PDP was in government for 16 years. APC have been there for 12 years now. So they should learn. Well, just imagine some months, less than 3 months. They should learn from the pitfalls of PDP. Because what happened to PDP now could happen to APC too in the future if they did not learn from the mistakes of the PDP. To me, that is the story. As to this two factions of the same falling group catching their cruise, well, they have their democratic right. They are very entertaining. Very entertaining to listen to them all missiles at themselves and all that. But from those free hauling of missiles, there are cold lessons to be learned. And that is how and why APC should make a difference if you want to cement its legacy.
There is a kind of from the standpoint of the ADC now, they are looking at it that okay, if they could pick from each of the from the ruling party and the PDP opposition to form that would give them a strong probably a strong base for them to win the forthcoming election. But do you even see them with looking at their present standpoint? Do you see them having a strong backing?
Well, it's not easy to say. It's too a little less than 2 years to go, and in 2 years in politics is a virtual eternity. So a lot of things can change. But looking at back, using the past to do a concrete analysis is a bit doubtful. Why? Look at the last election. It was supposed to be a two-way Trojan horse, a two-way battle, because of Obi's over performance in the election. It became a three-way thing. But that three-way race affected PDP more than it affected the APC. Now, the way they are going, that three-way might even become a four-way thing. And just like it happened in 2023, that four-way battle will affect PDP more than APC because it's PDP, broken into three now. I just told you that PDP and ADC are virtually the same. That's true. Now Obi has his own Labour, which is another part of it is para PDP. So if that one knows, and therefore it's going to reach into the basic PDP market as it were, unless the APC, other things being equal. Although, of course, that will not hold absolutely for every part. We are talking of general trend now, So, but if they remain like that, I don't see them making much impact. But again, you ask yourself, why does even ADC feel that they can come in from the back door, like you say, like combat kids, that they can peep out of APC, peep out of the PDP, and become the new champions? Why would they feel? It's because they are leveraging the pains and agony in the land, economic pains, and that is where the APC have a lot of work to do. If you look at their policy, what their promises and their promises and policies, I think they are not doing too badly. Apart from the pains, they are not doing too badly. Infrastructure, they are going for, they are building roads, they are building roads. Where they lag behind the beat in agriculture from the Buhari years. Around this time, we are seeing rice pyramids all over the north and all that. Now those pyramids are gone. I think they abandoned the agricultural program on the technical reason that it ought not to have been run for the central bank. There is a fiscal policy or whatever that ought to have been to have domiciled in the Ministry of Finance and many of his parastatals and all that, instead of the central bank. That's a fair call. But again, if they had just moved the program from central bank and maybe put it back to the Federal Ministry of Finance and link it to a bank, they still have retained that joker of you know what alcohol borrowers means. It means that if you're a farmer, for instance, I give you money to buy inputs, to rent machines and all that, that apart from that loan, you have an anchor who, after the harvest, you can come and buy off you as much as the produce you can sell. You are ready to sell. So that when you sell it, you have money to pay back the loan. That was how it worked. And people talk a lot of abuses and all that. Yeah, there were some abuses in the city. But it was still dynamic enough to make Nigeria produce in 3 years to be the #1 rice producing country in Africa. Now if they are continuing with that and maybe with their own new something, maybe you still have had this rice revolution go on. You have a lot of rice mills all over the place springing up. But they didn't, they lost the ball on that, and but the federal government has its own agricultural programs to policies. But from the statistics they just released, we found that agriculture had fallen back since of 23%, so I can't remember the exact one. So which shows that they are not really gaining in agriculture. But infrastructure is the direct opposite. They maintain the momentum. They are building more legacy. I was like, why am I saying that? In terms of policy, I think if you are going to judge the government, federal government by its own policies, they are doing just fine. The naira is stabilizing. The states have more money to play around with, and all that. And from all the people we probably last week, states are getting less debt. They are paying their debt, and they are getting into less debt. although one or two few states are still, you know, but then generally people are not, they are less debtor states, rather, which means that the whatever was used to fund subsidy is now being diverted to state government to do infrastructure and all that. And if that is the reason, if that is something in some way is working, because see local governments now coming up with legacy projects. You see Somolu the other day, you know, building like 20 roads, build a fire station.
A fire station.
I never saw any government in Nigeria before build a power station. Building 3.
Even Mushiye has commissioned a radio station.
Well, you know, 3 ultra-modern schools, primary schools. You know, K2. They had a housing.
Yes, yes.
So you see the local government do a lot of. Even Mushiye, you see some streets around us there. Off Radical, they are tiring streets, that you never see them time before. That shows that more money is getting to them, and they are correctly utilizing the money. That's a good thing, you know. So, if you are going to judge them by their policies, they are getting results in almost every space, except one. People are still hungry, and that's food security. That's cheaper transportation. And that's, you know, the hunger, the way you attack it, you are going to have food security produce more. You are going to have a better, more prolific agricultural program, better than what they are doing now. After that, find the way of investing in transition to find out that moving your produce from one point to the other costs less. If you do that, you are going to have food security, you are going to have less inflation, you are going to have less hunger. That is what the APC must work on. Without that, this guy will not have any chance to challenge the government in the next election. That's the point I'm making.
But based on the policy of the ruling government, the policies that they promised, they are doing very well.
I think they are doing well. They are doing well. Well, you know how this thing works. When the pocket is, when the belly is grumbling, even if you are going through a smooth road, you tend not to see it. You know, when the citizens are not really comfortable, if things are still hard economically, they tend to overstate the achievement of the government, and that's what is happening now. But if you look at it from an analyst's logical, critical perspective, if you link them to the policy they are pushing, they are doing well. That's a fact.
So Nigerians should not only learn to see the not so good side, they should also learn to look at issues from a logical standpoint.
You can't be pleading to the hungry. That's the fact. It's not, the call is on the government. Yeah, critically, logically, Nigerians should learn that. But you see, you getting drawn to election time, and that is where this opportunistic window, these guys are tearing open, and they are flooding it, so that to make to pay the government as another figure. It's not. They are not still where we are supposed to be, but there have been a lot of improvement. That's a fact. But you see, the call is on government, because it's they who will go to the voters in the next election for votes. So how do they manage it? To make at least present a balance in front of the voters. Okay, we are still not very okay now, but we see some sort of promise. We see a direction that if you follow it, you are going to get a promised land. Do we vote for? Do we go to that promised land, or veer off to this opportunity? That is challenge for the government.
I really do hope that the government will look into that and do justice to attend.
They have no choice if they want to go to the election.
So quickly, before we go, let us look at the issue of New Telegraph has it as quality of elections still challenging at local government level by INEC. So let me run through the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has declared quality of elections conducted by State Independent Electoral Commissions, CX, at the local government level. The commission also said the recent announcement by an unnamed state electoral commission to conduct local government elections with only 21 days notice is not only a violation of the law and the subsistent judgment of the Supreme Court, but also a practical problem. Rivers State Electoral Commission recently announced the conduct of local government elections by the end of August this year. Now, going by the recently conducted local government election in Lagos, do you think that state independent electoral commissions are trying their best in the conduct of elections?
I wouldn't know, because there are so many aspects of the electoral process that if you freeze one and make a judgment on that, you might not be doing justice to the whole gamut of electoral, you know. Is it demand and supply? Which one do you call demand? Which one do you call supply? Okay, let's say the people are conducting election, the INEC and CEC. Now, it has been alleged, and for some reasonable facts, that elections conducted by CEC are often a jamboree awarded to the ruling party. Hardly anybody can fall that from the results. You know, if from the results alone, then the CX will stand fairly accused, fairly docked, and even convicted for that listing. You know, at one point there's a scaffolding, there's a theory to it all. Nigeria is a federal state, and if you have a federal state, you don't have one body conducting elections for everybody. INEC is for the federal government, central government. By our constitution, it provides for states to have their own electoral authority by the federal framework. Now, if INEC is doing their attack by playing politics, wants to usurp the powers of CX with all its underperformance and all that, I will say no, because it's unconstitutional. And even if you go and amend the constitution to still be anti-federal, because by the federal credo, every state must have their own electoral body, because the administratively, the local governments are the business of the state. Even with the Supreme Court, which is, I think, with all these people, they're still fitted to make sure that they pay them money directly. And I don't know how long that will stand practically. So that's one part of the thing. If INEC is not playing politics or wanted to grab make itself the sole conductor of election nationwide, you look at the weaknesses of the CX and see how you can correct them. But if it's otherwise, that is just politics grab there, I would say no. But that's just my own personal opinion, it's not universal. Then number two, that's people conducting election. That's another aspect, the people. Now, if people are socialized into staying back, feeling that local government elections, are not important, the only federal elections are important, you can't be blaming the conductors of the election for not having played their part. They set up the polling books, all the paraphernalia. All you need to do was leave your house to go and vote. If you stayed in your vote, if the majority stayed in their houses, and only a minority vote, and then you are blaming CX for that, I don't think that is fair. You ought to blame the people who sat on their democratic rights to vote and voted for in local government election. And to just say because people are staying back, they have less interest in democracy, like Punch in its editorial today claim. That's rushing to the answer. I don't think that is so robust an argument. So, but because you can't prove that the CX repelled the voter. If the voter chose to stay back and not vote, it's really their right under a democratic system. Even though the optics, to be true, the optics is not nice. The optics and logic, they are two different things. That's why. So what I'm saying, there are two ways to it. If you complain that people are not voting in local election, maybe there's another link. Now, if people don't come out, the guys who are directly involved, whose stakes are highest in the election, will bring their people, not to rig the election or anything, but there are people that are going to vote. If you are contesting at local government chairman, for instance, you have a general voter party, you bring your people, and your people will vote for you.
Yeah.
If at the end of the day your people are voted for you, no matter how tiny, and you won, and some people are saying that people who have voted in, who have stayed in the house by their own free will, not compelled, they are going to negate the election. That's anarchical thinking. It doesn't follow. So that explains why even the states, all the state governments, are retaining their posts as local government because they will do direct mobilization with their people to come and vote. And if the other people don't vote, you cannot blame them for that. So those are the dynamics of the state. So the point, the final point I want to make there is that now, if you want to avoid that there's low turn-up in votes and all that, then you try to resocialize the people to wake up to their civil rights to vote and vote for, even at the very local government level. We talk about local government building schools and all that. Yeah. Those are the things they should do. Clearing drains, making rules and all that. Now, the more they get energized, they do that. The more the people get energized. I'm sure in Shomolu, for instance, in next set of election, with what the last government has done, there'll be more participation because people want to get benefit for themselves, and that's how it goes.
I have another question that I would have asked, but it seems our time is fast spent. But quickly, let me just ask you this. Since INEC is banking on the election, like giving 21 days notice for the election, and Rivers State just recently disclosed that their election, local government election, will be held on August 30th. They want to conduct it before the resumption of the suspended government.
Are they referring to INEC? Are they referring to Rivers?
To Rivers. Like from the standpoint of New Telegraph now, I took New Telegraph's report. So now, New Telegraph said they stated that recent announcement by an unnamed state. However, Rivers State Electoral Commission recently announced the conduct of local government elections by the end of August this year. Now, there are some reports. I saw a report on Guardian also that APC faction is saying they won't participate in the election because to their own excuse is that what's his name now? The sole administrator does not have that authority to conduct local government election. So does the sole administrator have that power to conduct a local government election, knowing fully well that the 6-month suspension duration of the suspended governor would soon
you see, it's a systemic thing. When you try to read personalities to it, you lose the argument. I don't know. I think it's a systemic thing. The state is there.
Yeah.
An administration is there. Whether temporary or elected is there. If the law says, if INEC says that they've not given enough notice for the election, that could be fair call, and they should look into it. So that they don't, because they had the experience before, they cancelled the election, they don't want to have the same experience. Because somebody who is not elected, who has the power, I don't think that's an argument. It's a systemic thing, the state is there. And it's just what the system asks you to do, you do, whether you are a temporary or permanent. But you see, some of witness public argument or discourses that if you look at personalities and they lose the plot, look at the system. And when you look at the system, you are a bit well guided. You are looking at the laws that have they breached the law. If they breach the law, okay, go and correct it. This the CX is there. There is a timeline. Those are what you follow. If you not breach the law on those timelines, systemic timeline, I don't think it doesn't matter whether it's the elected governor or the person who elected by that should conduct the election. I don't think that's an argument.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abimbola. I think we really have to run now. Majorly, Mr. Abimbola had made a call. He made a call to both the government and the people. The government should look into how to address the hunger that is seemingly persistent in Nigeria today. And Nigerians also, in as much as they are trying to criticize the lapses of the government, let us also look at the other angle, the part that they are doing very well, and say, okay, before you criticize, you are trying in this aspect, but it is remaining this other one. So constructive criticism would actually even help boost the morale of the government, not just major criticism and start castigating and all of that. So let us just do well to take our point. The government, I want to believe that the government will do justice to tackling the issue of food insecurity and hunger that is persistent. Thank you so much, Mr. Abimbola, for having you on the show. Until next month, when we shall meet again on this amazing show.
Thank God, gospel alive.
Gospel alive, more than that. Thank you so much, and until next time when we shall come to your screen again, I am Ayooluwa Ayobami. Many thanks and bye for now.